Hi there, and welcome to our presentation, ongoing presentation of Happy's Voyager 2 with touchscreen here. And in this particular video, we're going to demonstrate how Voyager's unique design can take special advantage of a popular third-party add-on, in this case the Hooptech clamping system, and how that can create some interesting possibilities. The first thing we're going to do is talk about Voyager, and the way I have the machine positioned here is particularly interesting. We've got it up against the front edge of this table here, and you'll notice that there's nothing about the machine that's actually in front of here. This is all hanging in midair. The way the machine is designed is it's the majority of the weight's back here on the body, so that even if we have something fairly substantial hanging off of here, even at high speed sewing, you can see the machine doesn't even want to move. It'll stay here as we're embroidering, no matter what we're putting on here. So now let's combine that back in with the Hooptech clamping system. So with this positioned on here, this adds not only some convenience, because instead of a traditional hooping system where we would slide a hoop on and then when it's done, take that hoop off, put another one back on, this basically stays on here, and the hoop basically stays on the machine, and all we have to do is put in a garment, sew, remove the garment, this stays on here, and it simplifies things very, very greatly. And not only that, but with this hanging off of this arm, we take advantage of this full open area here for a larger or bulkier projects that can fit in this, in again, that open space. All right, to begin with, let's set this up here in the machine. And to do so, we want to tell the Voyager machine how large this sewable area is. In this case, this is a 6 by 6 inch window, one of the many different kinds of interchangeable, different sizes of interchangeable windows that could be attached to this clamp base. So we want to tell that the machine that this has a 6 by 6 inch sewable area. The machine does have its own library of predefined hoops here of the available types of Happy hoops, but it doesn't have the information for this 6 by 6 inch window. But what it does have, when we go into our hoop selector, is the classes of Happy hoops, including round, square, and also cap sewing hoops, but also custom slots. And when we select that, it shows 5 available blank slots. And what we can do is choose one of these and tell the machine in that slot about whatever we're going to put in there. In this case, this window here, 6 inches by 6 inches. So there's a button here that lets us set this up by entering the information about this. In this case, we can select whether it's round or square. And in this case, we select square or rectangular, and that lets us set a height and enter that number in, and then a width, and then enter that number in. And so that now we have the actual area of the design. We've told the machine how big that is. Now, one thing about this base, though, is that when it actually mounts onto the machine, if we actually try to put this on here and hang that on here, you can see that with the arm centered, the actual sewing area here is off center here. It's not even over the needle plate. So we want to actually tell the machine that we actually, when using this, need to move this back every time we're using it. The machine will actually remember that every time you reselect this custom slot. So very easy bit of information to enter. There's an offset button here that lets us tell us how far back we need this to move. And when you order this Hooptech clamp, that number is given, and we'll go ahead and enter that number now. With this particular one, it happens to be 75.5 millimeters towards the back. So we'll just enter that exact number, and you can see that the arm is actually moving with us. And this allows for fast and slow movement so that we can actually go put in that number exactly. And we have programmed that perfectly. Okay, so once we've set that up, you can actually see that we'll go ahead and actually clamp or clip the machine's arms over the clamp, and you can see that now that's actually truly centered now that we've entered that number. So every time we select this custom slot, it will not only remember the size, but also where to actually truly center that. And it'll remember this forever until you actually erase that from the slot. So let's go ahead and go forward. Now that it's completely set up, let's see how this works. First of all, with a proper sewing area here mapped onto here. We're also seeing the blue outline of the design here, and we can actually see how much usable space is in this window. We can see where it's going to fall, and we can even verify that. Let's do a quick centering, and then we'll do a trace, and we can actually see the machine is actually pointing to where the edges of that design are going to fall, and you can actually see that that it'll easily fall within there. And we can actually move the position in here very comfortably so that we can get it to sew in the corners, front, back, or wherever, and still be confident because of that information that we won't go over the edge. So, and of course verify with the trace. All right, now let's go ahead and see this hoop in action. What we're going to do is our project for today is this travel bag here, and it's got a front pocket on here. This is something you wouldn't normally think about embroidering for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's pretty large and bulky, so if you have a single needle home machine, it would never be able to attach to its table or any arms out front. And not only that, you've got a complication that this is a very heavy canvas front, which would not very easily bend into a traditional hoop. Well, the clamping system solves that by having these jaws that open and close, basically like a little gator here. And all we have to do is slide that pocket on here. So we don't have to remove the pocket and then re-sew it back on. We can actually just mount it directly to the machine and close the jaws of the clamp. And if we want to, we can even retrace that by hitting the trace button here and making sure that the whole movement throughout the design area is going to be very comfortable and there are no conflicts here. And you can see that actually aligns very nicely. Now that we've verified the trace, we can just go ahead and start sewing by hitting the start button. And that's basically sewing with that Hooptech clamp system and Happy's Voyager 2 12 needle embroidery machine.